Poisons fill the earth as your pipeline routes expand. This changes everything. Your business grows and your wealth accrues. You launch super PACs and bloody coups for you to win. We all must lose. This changes everything. The poor seek refuge from disasters you create. Let me hear you. This changes everything. Your mansion's on a hill and guards are at the gate. This changes everything. You buy the government and you write the laws. You sell lyrics where the Arctic thaws. People gonna rise like the floods you cause. This changes everything.
So why are you here?
Because people have to be informed. You gotta step up.
Very nice, huh?
Oh, it's great to see this.
This is FCCPR interviewing a few of the marchers that are going into Boston on Friday morning for the Climate March. And your name?
Sam Crocker.
And how come you want to go?
I think it's one of the biggest issues certainly the biggest issue that my generation is facing. I believe this is the largest youth-led public demonstration in history. So I wanted to be a part of it and I wanted to show my support. And I think the fact that it's a strike is significant rather than just not that there's anything wrong with just regular marches, but I think the fact that it's a strike is significant. So yeah, that's why I'm showing up.
I'm going not because I really want to go, but because I feel I have to. I think that we are really the last chance to stop this, and so I feel that I really have to be here because I don't want to raise kids in a world where it's not the same that I was in.
Yeah, I agree with her. I think it's really important to make a change in the world, and I don't want to die in 10 years because the world's too hot. I really think we need to make a difference now before it's too late.
Okay. So we're interviewing folks that are down here on the send-off as kids are about to go into Boston to be in the Climate March, and we have some wonderful parents who have brought their kids down to go in. How come you are doing this?
Well, we just feel like it's so important to support the kids in this because they're the ones who really, really are concerned, and they have sleepless nights, and it's our responsibility as parents to do something. But they're the ones that could get people to pay attention. And we need to make the political change, but they also need to do something too. So.
Do they seem to have any understanding of why it's so difficult?
I think they understand a lot. I wish they didn't understand as much as they do or have to. But I'm really glad to see this happening and inspired by what they're doing.
I think we're probably going for our children and our grandchildren because they're the ones who are going to face the brunt of climate crisis, and it's really important for us to show up for them.
I agree.
I just want to be where the kids are, be amongst their energy, support them. I'm so excited that they're leading the way because we sure do need help.
We're here to support the students. We're here to say that this is an existential crisis and that we have to act now, and even now is too late, but we can't wait till tomorrow.
Keep on walking forward. Keep on walking forward. Keep on walking forward. Never turning back. Never turning back.
How come you want to come into the march?
Because this is really important to us. This is our future on the line, not just for me, but for my sister and my kids later on, and the entire world.
Are you sort of upset that more hasn't gotten done?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really horrible that we have someone in office right now who's more focused on short-term profit than long-term prosperity for our country. And I think it's important for our generation to stand up and show this administration and show whole right side of politics that we're not going to stand for this kind of ignorance.
My name is Dave Wallace, and this is my property here, Bittersweet Herb Farm. And my friend Rose, who is the co-organizer of this event, went on a journey, a couple months ago, and she started finding out a lot of information about climate strike. And when she came back, she said, Dave, we got to do something. And so here we are today having an action right in front of our business.
So my name is Rose Watson, and I'm an employee at Bittersweet Herb Farm, and we are very interested in regenerative farming, and that's part of why we hosted this today, because we know that sequestering all the CO2 into the soil is one of the huge solutions that often gets overlooked.
So say for a minute what that means.
I know. What does that mean? So we know that we have a ton of CO2 in the atmosphere, and so even if we cut out all of our fossil fuels, we still have to deal with the fact that we have too much carbon in the air. So that's creating all the heat. Carbon sequesters in two places. It's either going to go into the ocean, which causes bleaching events, or it's going to go into the soil and make it healthier. And regenerative farming is all about getting it back into the soil, which means that you want to stay away from factory farming, you want to have no-till farming, which keeps the ground covered and keeps that carbon in the soil.
I want them to honor what's happening for our children. I want them to honor that there are kids in the streets this time. It's not just a lot of us who've been doing this for years. We've got a whole generation who's terrified. They are so scared, and we can't take that for granted. These are our kids, these are our grandkids, and we have to send that message out.
As many people are, I'm very concerned for the environment and the climate in general, and any chance that I have to come out and express that concern and hopefully help people who share that concern group together and fight against whatever is causing this, I'll take it.
I agree with that. I also wasn't able to be at the climate strike today, so this feels like a way that I can still be active and I can still support them. Also wearing black as they are at the climate strike. And I am also very concerned about the climate, and I just want everybody to wake up.
And when you say wake up, what would that look like?
Well, I want them to think about how them as individuals can change the world, because the most common misconception that every person faces is that themselves alone cannot do anything, which is wrong. And if everyone together believe that they can, then we can.
Okay, great.
I agree with that. I also think the importance of the climate strike today and us helping out in our small, little, important Greenfield is that it's telling the government to wake up, and it's telling the big corporations, who are really the largest perpetrators of this climate crisis. It's telling them to get a handle on things, to reduce their emissions, and to have their focus be on the climate and on our future.
My name is Dylan Roy. I go to Greenfield High School.
My name is Isaac V. Hill-Sagan, and I also go to Greenfield High School.
And I have to comment on your shirts right off. Can you talk about them?
Well, me and Isaac both joined the Environmental Science Club in 10th grade, I believe
so.
Yeah, so 2 years ago. We're seniors.
Our group is really involved with a lot of services we do.
Done the Green River Cleanup.
Green River Cleanup, Source to Sea. We volunteer at Pumpkin Fest.
Yeah.
more recently, we're also working at the fair.
Ah, excellent. So what got you into the environmental club? What brought you there?
So honestly, I just have sort of an inclination towards the natural world. You know, I'd consider myself a naturalist. I like fishing. I'm kind of an amateur entomologist, so I'm interested in bugs and the such. So getting more out there and having somebody who's knowledgeable, like Miss Wilkins, who runs the club, sort of be a mentor was really powerful for me.
Personally, for me, it was more just I'm really concerned about our environment. It wasn't that as elaborate as Isaac, but it's just our environment and our climate is really going downhill.
What do you want to say to people about your concerns and what you hope they will do, how you hope they'll respond?
Well, obviously pay attention to the environment, listen to our planet, right? You know, obviously things aren't going very well right now. We need to change what we're doing. We've been doing something wrong for the past few decades, or centuries really, and we need to start changing something. So I guess the best way for the common folk to do it, in my personal opinion, is really pay attention to politics. Your politicians, you know, which representatives are going to be putting forward green actions into our government and so forth. That's really a way.
Our planet is worth protecting and our futures are worth fighting for. We have 11 years before there will be irreversible damage. That's about the lifespan of a squirrel. That's how old some of us are. It's not long. Some studies say there already is irreversible damage. And right now, not enough is happening. In fact, Trump is trying to legalize drilling in Alaska's Arctic Wildlife Refuge. We're going backwards. Today is about turning that around. Today is about disrupting business as usual. Today is about trying again and again and telling the fossil fuel industry that we are not going to back down. Because we can. That's the truth. If we can't make a significant change, kids today, kids like us, aren't going to have a future. It's so hard for me to think that the adults in charge are valuing money and convenience more than the future of our planet, our future, our lives, because climate change isn't theoretical. This is real and it is happening right now. Increased wildfires, seas rising, glaciers melting, this is becoming normal. It is terrifying and sad, but we must not look away. So that is why we're here. We're here because we are not afraid to let ourselves be scared, to make others scared, because that is how we are going to save ourselves from a climate catastrophe. We are here because we aren't going to let the fossil fuel industry be the ones to decide on the ending of our planet. We are here because the fossil fuel industry must know that we are not going to back down. We are here because we recognize that this is the future of young people, your children, us. Let's get together and fight for the Green New Deal. Fight for climate justice. Fight for our future. Please use your power for our future, because we can't vote and you can. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Why are you here?
Oh, we're here because people around the world are gathering to show that there's energy and that there's excitement and that there's a demand that we need to take action at the government level to, do something about climate change, to do something about protecting our environment, to make sure that we're providing a sustainable future for ourselves and our children and our grandchildren. And I think as an elected representative in government, it's important to be part of that. I'm honored to be here to speak on behalf of our local legislative delegation. And I've been more of a leader, I think, in the State House on climate bills. And like I'm going to say when I speak in a few minutes, it's easy for me to do so because look at this turnout. People here care about the environment. People here care about renewable energy, sustainable energy, and about what the planet's going to look like, not just for the next 5 years, but for the next 50 years. And so it's important to be here. I'm glad to be here, and thank you all for being involved.
How can we, out here in Western Massachusetts, be most effective in helping you and your colleagues from our delegation to be effective at making change at the legislative level?
What's the best thing that people can do is actually, you're part of networks that extend beyond our county. Our county gets it, our delegation gets it, the people of our county understand. making sure that people in different regions and even in different states around Massachusetts and around our country, that's really important. Getting other people that you wouldn't expect to be as involved, getting other legislators and other members of Congress to be involved, that's what's going to help us. Because, yeah, one county's not going to change the world alone, but one county working together with its peers, working together with friends, is going to make a difference. And if all of us take a small action, it's going to add up.
And we wonder sometimes if our emails or our letters or our phone calls are heard in the legislature. And can you talk about what the most effective thing for you as a legislator, what can I do that reaches you most effectively?
Yeah, so emails are good, Facebook is good, social media is good, phone calls are good, but the most effective anyone can do is to visit with us, to build personal relationships with us, get to know us. So I walked here today, I knew exactly who you were, I know your issues are not just the environment, there's education, there's a little transportation, there's a lot of stuff. And becoming a friend, becoming a reliable source, becoming someone I turn to when I need advice, makes me that much better of an advocate for you, and makes me know this is a person I trust, this is a person I respect. And so, some fans. So when professional lobbyists and people from big business walk around the State House every day because they have the resources to do so, they're good people, but they're given a very certain set of data and they're there to deliver a certain message. We counter that by regular people being involved. And so getting to know us, that's effective.
And we won't stand by watching her die, hearing her cry and deny that we live as she lives, we die as she dies. Think of the things we love, remember the ones we love. Open our minds, our hearts and our hands, and trust when we don't understand. We are all one planet. All one. All one planet. All one planet. Sharing our living, our dying, our birth, and we won't stand by watching her die, hearing her cry and deny. We live as she lives, we die as she dies. Let me hear just you.
So, what's your name?
My name is Elsa Marion.
Hi.
Yeah.
So,
Hi.
why are you here? You've got signs in your hand?
Yeah.
So, what's this about for you?
I'm just very passionate about the environment. I think it's my generation's responsibility to try and fix the problems that we're facing now. So yeah, I just want to see a brighter future.
And what are some things we might do to face that?
Well, I think there's a lot we can do. I think bringing awareness to the problem is quite a big thing that we can do, but also just being more thoughtful about our actions, about our fossil fuel, burning fossil fuels. I think we can reduce our meat and dairy intake because I think, beef farming is pretty huge, contributes to climate change. So yeah.
So you seem pretty well informed. How have you gone about doing that?
I read a lot of articles online, and I think it's so easy. Information's at our fingertips these days. So I think it's pretty easy to find these things out. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here.
No problem. Thank you.
We're here with your name?
Xavier. It's Xavier, and I'm Sheila Gilmore.
And one of you is running for mayor of Greenfield.
Yes, that one's me.
Okay.
Yep.
And one of them is in the family of the person running for mayor.
That's me.
All right, we've got that covered. So, why are you here? Why are you here at this rally tonight?
Well, I thought that the climate was doing bad and there was a climate change thing, and I thought I was already complaining about that anyways, so why not come?
Yep. Yeah, we talk about this at the house, right? So we talk about why it's important to not leave the water running, we don't leave the lights on, we always make sure we recycle, and so we're already talking about those things. My older children are, so he's 12 and I've got a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old. They're a little bit more aware of the science behind it, but Xavier has a pretty good handle. He knows that we need to find a new way forward, and we need to work on more renewable energy sources, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so not fossil fuels, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's good for him to be here with his peers and people who are just a little older than him to see that even children and young adults can work on these issues. You don't have to be running for mayor. You don't have to be a congressman or a president. You can do this as a child. You can do this as an adult.
Well, clearly, you're running for mayor.
Yep.
We think about sometimes the global issue is huge.
Right.
We think, what can we do? So when you think about what we can do here locally, you mentioned a little bit about what we can do in households. What can we do as a town or a city?
So as a town, we can take those things and expand them. Anytime we build, so if we build new buildings with state funds, we already have laws that we have to follow so that they have to, be environmentally sound. We can also try to incentivize that for private businesses in town, and we can do that. There's all sorts of, tax incentives that we could offer up. There are grants that we can go for, and I think that having somebody who thinks that this is a priority, because where there's a will, there's a way. So having somebody who has this priority will help us move forward. And if it's, when we're talking about private businesses who maybe can't afford to make these green changes that they would like to make, having someone who sees that as being a priority for tax incentives, then we can all work together and move it along.
Is where they changed this world to what it can be today. Here is where we stood up against the oil companies of the world. Here is where we claimed the streets, got on our feet, and we rose, baby! The time is now. The time is now to rise up and disrupt. Who will rise with us? Rise together. Thank you.
Hi everybody. My name's Charlotte. I just got back from Boston with a group of about 60 students from Franklin County. It was an incredible day. I'm so grateful that I got to go and that I got to bring this part of Massachusetts all the way to Boston. I'm so proud of the way our generation is organizing and giving life to this movement. Being in Boston and listening to the speakers, some of which were 18, college freshmen, and the way that they spoke about the movement and the power that we have as a people and as a generation made me realize that this is just the beginning and that we have so much potential and possibility. I'm so grateful to the adults who made it possible for us to go to Boston. Couldn't have happened without them, and we're going to keep working together to make this possible. And I want to read an Emily Dickinson poem that I found last night. And I stumbled upon it, but it felt very pertinent, and I wanted to share it. Okay, it goes, "There is another sky, ever serene and fair, and there is another sunshine, though it be darkness there. Never mind faded forests, Austin, never mind silent fields. Here is a little forest, whose leaf is evergreen. Here is a brighter garden, where not a frost has been. In its unfading flowers I hear the bright bee hum. Prithee, my brother, into my garden come." Thank you.
We're trying to get her trained.
I ended up having to let her go to her family because my leg was and perfect fit. Another dog, big yard,
And they knew who to take them to the training because they had already done it with the preschool. So they had the patience with her social skills. And now she has the social skills. Another dog came up and challenged her and she just said,
Home to ocelots and turtles, porpoise, beaver, porcupine. Where else could you find such bounty? Mountains, forests, oceans, pearl. Leave this task love to our children. Join together, say